wicked. Okay, we live and whatnot.
On the internet.
Yeah, on the internet. But yeah, just before we went live, we were talking a little bit because we didn't podcast last week.
Yep.
Because I had to get my wisdom teeth yoinked out.
Yep. You had to get pulled out of there. You had to get gotta get those guys out of there.
Yeah. So like pretty much like I was sick when we got back from Vegas, and then I was okay for like a day, and then my gum got like inflamed and infected by my wisdom tooth, which is pretty common.
Yeah.
Like I've had it happen multiple times. Well, like after like even like cleanings, like dental cleanings and stuff. Like I don't know what happens. Just it gets really inflamed and like the gum grows over the tooth, and then I can't eat, and it's a pain. But I don't know what it was. It just really annoyed me when it happened. It happened like Friday, a week and a half ago, and I was just like, I just texted my friend because he works for an oral surgeon. I was like, dude, I gotta get this shit taken out on the ASAP Rocky. And so he got me an appointment for Tuesday last week to get him taken out. Like I never even planned to take him out. Like I knew like that infection thing happened. Like it's happened to me like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, oh whatever, I just deal with it as it comes. But for some reason I was just like, nah, I'm gonna get him taken out. And so yeah, it was really annoying because I couldn't eat, and even like the past like 2 weeks, all I've eaten is ice cream. So yeah, I've lost 15 pounds.
I mean, well, there could be better circumstances, but at least you have like some silver lining there. At least like your wife, I'm sure she appreciates that.
She just wants me to eat, but
Yeah.
it's like I've tried to eat a little bit. It's just like
chicken noodle soup or something, or
I
like
just don't. I don't know.
egg.
I don't want to chew. I don't want to like deal with it. Like
Yeah, so it's like chicken noodle soup or something.
well, when you, well, I mean, there's still noodles in it, you know.
Yeah, but you can just slurp the broth. It's still healthy. Like chicken,
Yeah,
like boiled chicken
like
stock. Literally anything at this point. It's been
when
a whole week. Have you
when
been
you get your
drinking water?
wisdom teeth like first pulled, you're not supposed to have like anything hot or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just had ice cream, and then yeah, as it goes, you can have hot food and whatever. But it's just like annoying because of the stitches that were in there. Like some of them were like between my teeth, so like if I like had anything in there that was solid or anything, like it would just like rub against it and it would hurt. And I didn't like that, so I didn't want to eat. And it's just like, I don't know, I find it easier to just deal with it than to eat food, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they prescribed me Norcos and ibuprofen, but I never took the Norcos because I don't want to do drugs. And if it was up to me, I wouldn't have taken the ibuprofen either. But people think I'm ridiculous for that.
Yeah, it's situational. You just gotta know when. You gotta know when to stop. Those are the 2 most important things.
Yeah, I had a friend addicted to Norcos, so I just chose to avoid it altogether.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean you're right, and like I just don't trust myself to make good decisions, so I didn't want to take it.
Well, that's understandable. Like if you have heavy reservations, like you said, it's prescribed to you, but you're not. No one's forcing you, holding you down to take it. And if you want to push through the pain, the most thing about Norco is what I know, especially since my mom, she had that severe injury earlier, well, not earlier, in the earlier part of this year. The primary reason she had them was for sleep, because sleeping when you have when your arm has been is all stitched up and has.
That's the other thing is I did take the day off to go, and then like the next day, like I just took I worked from home a little bit and like rested because you're supposed to relax and whatever. But then I'm going to work every day, and I don't want to you can't take Norcos and drive.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, even before then I wasn't gonna take them, but still.
Yeah, well, most people I also know usually would have taken the whole week off for wisdom teeth extractions. So good to you for getting right back to work.
Well, I mean, I don't want to miss work. Like, it's just like annoying. Like, I don't want to inconvenience my life just because I had teeth pulled out. You know, like.
Well, that's what happens when you need to get certain stuff done to your body because your teeth are growing in the wrong place and they're splitting into nerve endings and
Yeah. Well,
sending
like,
painful stuff to your brain.
I didn't have any like tooth pain. I
Mm,
just had like my gums would just grow over the tooth like every now and
mm,
then. So like that's where the pain came from, and like I couldn't chew food, so I couldn't eat, and
mm.
like it just got way too annoying. Um, so that's why I got them pulled. But like even after like so the like I was put to sleep luckily, and
Yeah,
I woke
that's
up and
taking a drug right there. What do you think that is?
well, yeah, but like everyone like you see like videos like all over the internet, like TikTok and shit, and like everyone who's like waking up from wisdom teeth surgery is like loopy and shit. Like I was perfectly cognitive when I woke
No,
up.
I don't think. I think that what you're talking about is a different kind of. There's like another kind of surgery anesthetic they give people during
Uh,
when for surgery when they only need to be under for like 30 to 40 minutes. Like I think for wisdom teeth, you're
no,
in.
it's the same. It was like a
Uh,
half hour.
oh, that's surprised considering the amount of surgery you had done that was done so quickly. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah,
I got there like 8 and I was home before 10. But
yeah.
like half that time is like sitting in the waiting room and then a consultation and then waiting to be
But
called in.
there is a specific type of like drug that puts you under when you wake up. Like it just really depends on how well you can shake off the grogginess of waking up in the morning. There's some people that can do that really well, and there's just some people that
Mm.
just can't. But there is also another type of one that's like it's just a pain. It's basically like it's basically kind of like morphine, where it
Mm.
kind of like numbs all your pain receptors like in your
Yeah.
like.
Well, yeah. So they gave me the anesthetic, or like, well,
Mm,
first they gave me nitrous oxide,
yeah,
and then they put the tube in my arm, and then I passed out, and then they go through and numb everything with like anesthesia,
yeah,
uh, and yeah, they're like, well, it'll wear off like pretty quick, like especially on me, like anesthesia always wears off pretty fast.
mm,
And they're like, so be within an hour, make sure like you pick up your medication because it's gonna hurt. Like
mm,
take ibuprofen within an hour, right? So like I said, like we showed up at Walgreens at like 9:30,
mm.
and they're like, well, it's not ready.
Yeah.
And so I came home, and it wasn't ready till 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it sounds like a generic brand pharmacy for you.
Yeah, and so yeah, that hurt for a while. It was
Yeah, especially
not a good
especially
time.
like it reduces inflammation like in the short term. Like there's some
Yeah,
so that probably would have helped a lot.
I ended up just taking ibuprofen that I had here. Like
Yeah.
my wife just called the doctor and she's like, "Hey, Walgreens sucks. Can you just take generic ibuprofen that we have?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Mm.
So I just did that, but yeah, it sucks, man. Like, cause I know I haven't been eating and I can't go to the gym. I can't chew gum. I can't use a straw.
Yeah.
Like, it's just annoying. Like, it's like I understand like not going to the gym for like a day or two, but like they said, don't go to the gym for 10 days.
Mm.
That's a
No,
long
it's
time.
that's what happens. Like your body has needs and it needs to be tended to. It needs proper time to rest. Like these are things we've known about for a long time, and you can't. There are a lot of people that think you can just kind of, oh, I'm superhuman. I can cut the line. My body will recover faster than other humans because I am just a better person. That's not really how it works. I know this because my sister is a nurse, and there's half the people in the ER are people who thought they were effectively immortal and that they couldn't receive an injury or that their lifestyle would ever catch up with them. Especially at young ages. So
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the
it's
same.
it's
That's the same mindset I had, obviously, right? When I was like, "Well, I'll
yeah,
never get my wisdom teeth pulled. I'll just deal with it," you know.
yeah, exactly. It's it's a lot easier to say it to a bunch of women who say like, oh, I'm not gonna get any anesthetics or or painkillers when I go to have birth. It's gonna be 100% natural. And
Oh
then
no.
your water breaks, and then you realize, oh shit, there's gonna be this like tiny little 2 foot thing sliding out my vagina. My body is literally tearing itself apart to make room right now.
Yeah.
It's
I,
just fucking crazy.
I have like trauma from the dentist when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and
Well,
like
that could always be like I have an uncle. He didn't see a dentist for 32 years because of something that happened. So I understand
I
like
didn't
that
see a dentist
perspective.
for 16 years.
Well, at least you're not him. Like he didn't see a dentist again until like he was 46 or 47, I think, and that's just because he could
Yeah.
feel one of his teeth like splitting apart down.
Yeah, from when I was 10 to 26, I never went to the dentist, and Like when I first went, like, they took X-rays and everything. They're like, oh yeah, your teeth are fine. And I was like, oh cool, because like also like as a teenage boy, like, I didn't give a shit about hygiene for like, dude, I didn't brush my teeth for probably like 6 or 7 years. Like I didn't give a shit. Like
Yeah,
that's how teenage boys are, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until like I was like a junior in high school where I actually really cared about my hygiene.
I mean, that's cool. It's because girls really started caring about your hygiene.
Well, I had a girlfriend before that. But
well, I'm sure that she cared about your hygiene.
I don't think she really cared.
That's disgusting that you're macking on her with dirty teeth. That's
hey,
really that's literally leading cause of infection. Be it like if you were kissing on her and then she started sucking your dick, dude. Hey. All that dirty shit that was on your teeth got on your dick.
Hey.
All right? So it's just.
I mean,
no.
I washed that. Okay.
You're gonna make. So then just brush your teeth. All right, there you go. Brush both. There you go. Okay. Just take care of both.
Yeah.
Dental hygiene is important.
Yeah.
When you go to Costco, they got a really good deal right now on a Philips Sonic. $32 for like a hyper speed fucking.
Oh,
this thing
yeah,
feels like
I have a Oral-B electric toothbrush.
Thing is like a fucking chain machine gun going off in your mouth. All right, dude.
Chainsaw.
If you open in your mouth when it's going on, like toothpaste will fly out like crazy.
Yeah, I was scared because like when I went back to the dentist, I was like, man, like I probably have like receding gums and like disease and cavities and stuff. They're like, nope, no cavities. You just have some deep grooves in your teeth that will fill, and you have too much gum, so we're gonna shave it off or burn it off with a laser. Actually,
there you go.
So yeah, but
I don't know. Like I used to have a fear of the dentist too, but like then I had to get my orthodontics done. I had braces for.
Oh yeah, they want me to get braces too, but I don't want.
I had braces for I had braces for 6 or 7 years. And I have a permanent retainer in my lower mouth, and let me tell you about invasive mouth feelings. Getting your braces is just. You should look at Invisalign.
Yeah,
like, if you wanna,
I was thinking about it.
But I heard the new options are really, really good, and they're a lot better than getting all the metal hookups. If you just need to do slight corrections, like it's only for people that I had a crossed over tooth, I had this, I had that, I had crooked. I was running my skull into a bunch of different things when I was a kid. I had my first fracture when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Well, concussion. I apologize. It wasn't a fracture. It was concussion.
I think Invisalign would be an option, but I do have some pretty fucked up teeth, so. We'll see.
Well, yeah, and
yeah. But when I was like 7, my friend threw a Mountain Dew bottle at me, and the cap shattered my tooth in the front.
The cap, nice.
Yeah, the cap hit my tooth, and it just like broke in half. The bottom part shattered, but like now I only have half a tooth there, and so I got like temporary caps on it for a long time. But I also wrestled, so they would always get knocked out. Like even one time, like. My cap went through my lip, popped out, and I swallowed it. And like, just like crazy shit would happen. So like when I was 10, they're like, well, we'll put like an actual like real crown on it, but it'll get replaced when you're 15. And like the dentist was like, well, I don't do like what other dentists do. I make custom ones. And so I have to shape your tooth around the custom one I'm going to make. And it's like, okay. So they gave me 2 shots of anesthesia. And they said it'll hurt anyway, and they shaved my tooth and my nerve endings. Yeah. And I felt it the entire time, and I thought that's normal. I thought you're supposed to feel pain when you go to the dentist. And then I went to my dentist here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just give you more anesthesia."
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't feel anything. We'll just keep giving you anesthesia.
Yeah, they'll give you anesthesia until you can't fucking talk, dude. It's fucking
dude.
You're like
when I get a filling, they give me like 9 shots because I can feel it with any less than that.
Yeah.
And like they told me straight up, like you're not supposed to feel it, but I thought you are. Because that's my experience. Like I felt it the whole time. Like they literally had a lady in the room when while I was feeling the pain, and she said, I'm here so you can squeeze my hand because it'll hurt.
Yeah.
So I thought that's like normal. Nicholas says hi. Oh, my sister texted me. Okay. Hi. But yeah, I thought that was normal. That was fucked up. But anyway. Anyway, hopefully I can eat soon and
and also brush your teeth.
I've been brushing my teeth. Like I brush my teeth like
No,
Usually I brush my teeth like
I'm saying that like as a message, like it's just
oh
putting that vibe out there in the universe.
oh yeah
Just
yeah
gonna
yeah.
just brush
Always
your teeth,
brush your
right?
teeth, and if you don't do it like how you're supposed to, at least do it in the morning because motherfuckers be stinking in the morning. Okay,
Yeah,
so
or just do what I do, and I only do it at night, and then I use mouthwash, and then my breath is fine.
I only do it in the morning.
So you got two options here, right? See, look at this diversity in healthcare for your teeth.
Oh
It's
yeah,
great.
the other thing that they don't teach you
Mm-hmm.
is that flossing isn't to clean between your teeth; it's to clean under your gums.
Yeah,
Uh,
gets all that shit out from under there,
yeah.
pulls it out.
So important life lessons. But other than that, I went to a concert too. Well, my gums were fucking infected and shit. Yeah, I went to Swanfest here in Sacramento.
Was it
And
like a heavy festival, or is it like more of a mellow?
well, it's heavy. It's like so it's a bunch of like heavier bands. I mean, Dance Gavin Dance headlined it, but then there's like Kubla
Yeah.
Khan, a So Long Space Cowboy, a Scarlet Drives reunion was there, Movements, Animals as Leaders. There was another
So
really
long.
Knocked Loose. People love Knocked Loose.
So long, Space Cowboy. That's a great reference.
Yeah. Their lead singer is a lady. Well, she's a screamer. She doesn't sing. She screams.
Yeah.
Who I like people were like talking about it in the audience, like she like recently like OD'd and almost died and shit, and it was very awkward.
Classic metal shit.
Yeah. I don't think I ever need to go to a festival again. Festivals are just everyone's high as a kite. It's weed everywhere. Like, no offense, like I don't mean this in a negative way, but I think you would have had a great time at that kind of festival.
Yeah, I don't really like getting that stoned in public, so that's kind of like my exchange.
Well, it'd be good for you because you could just like enjoy heavy music and get contact eye,
Yeah, and I would just mosh. That's the thing. Like that's how I break like the awkwardarity of being at a
Dude, the pits were crazy. People were like elbowing other people in the face as hard as they could.
See, I like to stay on the edge and shove people, so like that way I can back off when some dude's going fucking crazy. Like I can like ninja into the crowd and shit like that.
It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, festival vibes aren't really my thing. The merch line, no joke. I don't know what was happening. Like these people have never ever like run a merch line before or something, because let me tell you, there were like 9 merch lines, and we waited in line for 3 hours to get merch, and we weren't even at the front yet before the band we wanted to see came on. So we left our friend in line. We went to see the other band who played an hour set, and by the time that set ended, they had got the merch.
Nice.
4 hours in line for merch? That's absurd. Like, you'll never see that anywhere. Even at Aftershock in Sacramento, Aftershock is huge. Like, arguably, like, the biggest concert event that is going to come to Sacramento ever, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 4-day event with, like, the biggest bands in the world.
System of Down was there for
Metallica, Kiss is playing this year. Like,
yep.
Crazy big. And their merch lines aren't even that bad.
Yeah. Well, it's because they have so many booths. That's the thing. Like there are 100. Like I went to Aftershock for System because I don't just really like System.
Yeah.
So I but I was there, and you're right. Like there, but the thing is, there were so many booths. Like there was one really big merch tent that had like 5 I swear I had 5 cashiers. So maybe that was a part of it.
That's like proportional, right? Like like Aftershock, like in a day you're gonna have like 40 bands playing. Right?
Yeah, there are tons. I was just walking between stages and like listening to all the different bands. That's basically what I was doing.
This concert had 2 stages and probably like 20 bands total.
Yeah, and Aftershock I had like 6, I think, because there were like so many little tiny little dinky stages. It was great.
And there were like 9 merch tables.
Yeah,
but like every line for every merch table, like so the concert was at the soccer field here in Sacramento. The lines were like from one goal, all like 3/4 of the field all the way, every single line, and like they never got shorter.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been to some, like when I see one night, I do still enjoy going to shows. Like festivals, you're right. The only festival I really had a good time at, even at Aftershock, I had kind of a bad time because the vibe there was so mixed. Because there were so many heavy metal bands mixed in with like these peace and love hippie bands, and you could
Oh
tell
yeah.
like it was just
Well,
too
I think
clashing.
even that one, like MGK was at.
Yeah, there's
They,
a bunch.
they
There was a bunch of weird
and
shit.
people like the thing is like people in the metal scene really don't like MGK,
Yeah, well,
and
you know,
like people in the rap scene also don't like nobody likes MGK. It's really odd.
yeah,
Like fans like him obviously, like, but
yeah.
it
No,
seems like people in the scenes just don't. So
but I do what I like to do, and this is probably shitty of me, but like sometimes like during main sets on, and they're playing a song that I just straight up don't like I'll just leave to go to the merch booth and get my shit done.
yeah,
So there'll literally be nobody there, or there'll probably be like one other person there, and it's great. I love it.
yeah.
The only problem is sometimes I miss out on a lot of shit, but usually I'm just getting like a shirt that usually says like, "Oh, I was at this tour," because that's what I like getting these shirts for, and vinyl too. I'm starting to really appreciate vinyl just because of the artwork mainly. Like I think it's kind of obnoxious playing like the disc. Like it's not obnoxious; it's like a process, but I don't know. Like people saying like it's a superior form of way to like enjoy your music. I think you're kind of full of shit. Like
It's not any different, is it?
well, no, but I'm saying like you got your iPhone, with hundreds of thousands of millions of hours of music on it. That is a much way superior way to enjoy music. So that's the
Right, and like the way they like master music now for like digital is like, I mean,
better.
it's always
Yeah,
gonna sound better, right?
it's night and day. Like just with the recording studios, it's basically like being there.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
you're not gonna hear like crazy punchy kick drums on a vinyl.
yeah,
So, but hey, I mean, like it's a vibe for like I think vinyls are great like for jazz music for people who just want to like chill in a lounge and smoke a cigar and drink their scotch, like you know.
I have a bunch of vinyl and I have a bunch of metal vinyl, and I just like listen. I liked listening to it when I would study because it meant I had to get up like every 25 or 30 or so minutes to flip it over, and
Hmm.
then like after that I would have to get up again to like change the vinyl to another one, and like I have like 30 or so discs now, so it's not like my collection's like tiny. Um, but it's just fun. I like the artwork. I like going through it, looking at all the different artwork, and I like some of the collector stuff too. Like Over the Garden Wall, which is a Cartoon Network special, like a little eight or 10 episode special they had. They released the whole soundtrack on vinyl, which is like this old school ragtag sort of New Orleans style, like revival music. So
Hmm.
I really, it was right up my alley, and I just bought the vinyl immediately because it was only $30, and it came in this great yellow sleeve, and it had all this like it had like the this like guide inside that had like the artwork and all this stuff, and it was great. I loved it.
Nice. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I guess we can touch on real quick. People are freaking out because of the leaked Supreme Court thing.
Yeah,
Um, I think the bigger issue is that there was a leak out of the Supreme Court. Like
yeah.
the Supreme Court's always been revered for secrecy, and the fact that someone leaked this is
And
actually
also,
crazy.
well, I can I just to say like not even it's not a more it's less about secrecy and it's more about the intense level of trust that existed between the justices themselves and their clerks and their
Right. And
staff.
most of their clerks are like everyone involved with the Supreme Court are essentially lawyers, right?
Yeah.
And so what had to happen is one person who works there obviously
Mhm.
felt like
Well,
they could make a difference
no,
by releasing
it
it.
just not just someone that just works there. It would have had to been someone that was in the inner circle of trust. Like we're talking
Right.
like clerks, like they are basically kind of like semi adopted by judges for however long their clerkship is, and they basically like make decisions. They help formulate the judge's opinion on down low. Like they're there in the room with the judges, like thinking about decisions aside from when the Supreme Court justices are actually in deliberation, which is a crazy process if you read about it because they basically cut themselves off from the world and they start deliberating with each
Right.
other.
I-
Um, but
Is
it came out it came so it either came from a justice or it came from a clerk. If it
right.
came from like a secretary or like a security guard or something like that's more has to do with a very serious issue of like just judicial malpractice. That's what that is. Like if a document like that was able
Well,
to get outside the circle
whoever
of trust.
obviously they're launching an investigation. If they find out who did
Yes.
it, they get disbarred immediately. Like
Yeah,
it's
this
not
part.
illegal. It's not illegal what they did, but it's
Yeah.
extremely unethical.
Yeah, unethical. It just depends on where you're. Depending on your definition of ethics. Like
Well,
like
in in objective terms, like because so people talk all the time, like people love to freak out and say society's crumbling and all that blah blah
Mm.
blah. Society is truly crumbling when the infrastructures within a society crumble, and we've seen this happening over many years in America. The past couple years, nobody believes in science and medicine anymore.
Mm.
Nobody's trusted the government for a long time.
Yeah.
The military is has degraded over time. I mean, not the people in it. I mean, I feel like personally, I
Well,
have a lot of respect for people in the military, but the military as an institution has degraded over time. Like,
yeah. Well, and they've degraded also. And there's this gentleman called Jocko Willink, and he was a Navy SEAL, and he was involved in some very serious situations over in Afghanistan. He saw live combat, so he's been through very difficult situations, and he owns his own management firm now, and he's like, all over Wall. He's not all over Wall Street, but like, he's a really just a really genuine thinker when it comes to like the American project. And I think what he says is like he just narrows it down to the fact that this country has a crisis of leadership. Is the fact that we don't really have any effective leaders at state, at local governance, at state governance, on federal governance. We have a number of judges that I have zero confidence in. We most people that are representatives of the court are only there because they want to make a paycheck and not because they believe in the rule of law. Like, that's to me is the fundamental, like, that right there, that concept that someone is there because they want to get paid and not because they want to serve the federal government or the state government or their local county or their whatever administrative board that they're paying to be on. Like, it just spells, it's a recipe for disaster, because eventually you're just going to getting people, you're going to keep getting apathetic people who are just going to be inactive completely at all levels of government because they want to sit there, collect a paycheck, not do anything, and then leave.
yeah.
And it's just very difficult to undo that situation without causing a bunch of people to figure out, because you basically talking about is ripping out a lot of American institutions by the roots, shaking them all the dirt off, and then planting them back in and hope they set root again.
Well,
Because that's
yeah, and the issue is a combination of that and also how easy it is for those people to manipulate voters.
yeah.
Because let's be honest, like this is a perfect example. Everyone's upset about this leak because it's. I think this is going to be final. There's still time they can like have other opinions. They're still going to discuss it,
Mm.
etc. But people are all upset about it.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
overturning Roe v. Wade, right?
and also just to say, but though, that it's just as someone who's been participated in, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't gone to law school. I haven't passed a bar, but I was very proximate to the legal system, and I was proximate to some people that talked very fluently about the legal system. I also listened to a number of different legal podcasts. So it's. I'm sorry. I completely lost my train of thought. You can go ahead 1 second. Let me find
I was
it
just
over.
saying, like people are upset about it now.
Mm.
There were a lot of people also upset about it months ago when it became an issue. Like the thing is, anybody who knows anything about how the Supreme Court works and how our legal system works knows that they usually make these like
Yeah.
they usually announce these huge rulings like
I found my thought again.
June,
Just to
July. Go
finish.
ahead.
Yeah, just to finish though, like the 98 page shows a extreme amount of deliberation. That's all I got. That's all I had to put out there real quick. There's just 98 pages of just very intricate, thorough casework, a lot of studying of the law. Like, you can tell they're putting a lot this. They put a lot of thought into this. So I feel like whatever opinion we're going to get, like you said, in June or July, is probably going to look a lot similar to what was leaked, and I feel that's
Yeah.
probably what can. Yeah,
Well,
it's
look, I don't care if people want to protest. I think it's great you use your rights to protest. Protesting outside an empty Supreme Court building to try to get this overturned is ridiculous.
yeah.
It doesn't
And
achieve
also,
anything.
well, also the most important thing is, like, people are like protesting in California right now. Like, the thing about California, you understand, is that there are laws on about abortion on the books in this state specifically. They go back as far as 1888. We've been
Right.
deliberating about this issue for a very long time in the state. I
Yeah.
feel like we've
And
it is so we there's no issue there, just to make sure that all of the Californians know, like, this won't really directly impact you in any way, even when it comes to women's health, like when it comes to access to contraceptives and, like, Planned Parenthood and everything like that. There's a very strong relationship between the state and most, like, pro-choice people, and
right.
it would not, yeah, just
Well,
so
like the thing is, like, on top of all of that, like again, like this is something that came up because it was elevated from a case from Mississippi, right? Like
Mm,
this made it to the Supreme Court because Mississippi banned abortion after 15 weeks or whatever. So the
yeah.
Supreme Court took that up. That's why they didn't do anything about Texas's 6-week law, because they're already addressing it with Mississippi's law, right? Like
Yeah.
people don't understand any of that and don't pay attention to it, and then get all upset when something leaks, right? And again, if whoever leaked it obviously thought, well, I'll put pressure on them and it'll get overturned, or whatever, right? Which
Yeah.
isn't going to happen. The Supreme Court more than likely will dig its heels in and say, no, we made this choice. We're not
Yeah.
changing it.
And they're not going to be intimidated and stuff like that, and then things keep getting worse and worse from there. And
Right. And so, what does it mean? Because people seem to not know this either. What does it mean if Roe v. Wade gets overturned? Essentially, what it means is states get to make their own decisions on abortion laws, right? Roe v.
yeah,
Wade essentially says states don't get to make that decision. The
no,
federal government.
yeah, it said the federal government made the decision for the states,
Right.
essentially.
And
And
this is something that's been argued since America's inception, right? Should the federal government have the power to, like, what should be federal law, what should be state law, states' rights, etc.? Should legalization of marijuana go to the states or federal government? Gay marriage, states or government, right? Like these things have been argued for a long time, and then like we voted in California for many years on gay marriage, and we always said no until we eventually said yes.
yeah,
And eventually Obama just said no, federal law, it's legal everywhere, right?
yeah,
Like that's how it goes. And there's always going to be arguments about should the government have this amount of power, should states have this power, blah blah blah. So anyway, Roe v. Wade gets overturned immediately. About 24, 26 states outlaw abortion. It's illegal, right?
yeah,
Every other state, the other 24 to 26, will keep it legal. And what you'll have essentially is what you see right now. Why have abortions skyrocketed in every surrounding state around Texas by like 800%?
yeah,
This is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see abortion sanctuary states all across America, pretty much. It's just like what we have now. Like people want to live in Alabama because it's super conservative, and other people want to live in California because it's totally super liberal. Unless you live here and realize that it's kind of a mixed bag. But
yeah. Especially in Central CA.
yeah, so it won't affect a lot of people, and it will affect a lot of other people. Like that's just kind of how it is. If you want my opinion on it, I'm just telling you the facts. If you want my opinion on it, Bill Clinton said it best: abortion should be rare, legal, and safe. That's my opinion on it. But getting upset about it and rioting and protesting is not going to change anything. If you feel like you're doing a great service to Planned Parenthood and all these companies by donating and organizing and whatever, do your thing. But yeah, that's my opinion. Like, and you have people. This is the like everything else, right? We're so divisive. If you go to your extreme right, abortion should never happen, even in cases of rape and incest. Never, ever, ever. Pro-life, blah blah blah. It's a baby, blah blah blah. Go to your far left. Psh, kill them at 20 weeks. Kill them. It doesn't matter. Like abortion is a form of birth control to them. Both sides crazy. I don't understand it with topics like this. Everybody goes insane. I have very little opinion on it. I think it's hard to talk about because people are so ingrained in it.
Well, it's upsetting. It's also very upsetting talking of conversation because the process by which the thing is done is very upsetting to some people. Like, just on a very base level, like we have to be like realistic about what an abortion is and what it means and like what it represents and how it should be, like you said, the last choice ever considered in that situation, and we need to push forward to a society where you should be considered the last choice, like which I thought was the goal for the last, and it's just so strange, like when the early 1990s and the early 2000s, like times were really toxic because we were going through great change. Technology kind of hit our society like a fucking sledgehammer, like it still kind of is now, but we've adapted a little bit better. But like it's just moving forward to society where this is no longer a topic of conversation because we've moved past it to where a point where a better society where we don't really need to worry about these things anymore. And like I don't know where that topic of conversation like kind of went, like the conversation around safe sex, the conversation around like not hanging out with guys that like like, oh, it doesn't feel the same, babe. Let me fucking go in raw, like, and you already can't trust this guy to be like a regular person, like,
Hey,
to just
don't
conduct
talk
himself.
about me that way.
Hey, well, it does feel different. Like, I won't say that it doesn't, like, because it does. And any guy who says that fucking talk is just full of shit. He's trying to get laid. That's basically what it is. Because his girlfriend wants him to say it doesn't feel different. So
Yeah,
he's gonna say it doesn't feel different.
you should always perform safe sex.
Yeah.
But
If
hey,
you don't want to,
well, like even if you're like here's the thing. I don't know. This is just what I've heard. Like even if like you can't have kids, like you should still have safe sex because of diseases. But it's like if neither me or my partner have a disease, why do I have to worry about that? Can you develop one out of nowhere? Am I dumb?
Well, yeah, certain ones around your crotch, yes, that's from poor hygiene. If she if she has poor hygiene practices and you have poor hygiene practices,
Oh,
eventually.
don't worry. I shower like twice a day, my dude.
Okay, well, see, there you go. Like, you're fine. Like, unless you're someone
Bro,
like me,
I
who
even
comes
wipe
down,
the tip after I urinate. Okay.
okay, see, unless you're someone like me who comes down like after 7 days in the California hills, sweating like crazy, who needs to spray some antibacterial, antifungal spray down there. And and there you go. Just clean it, wash it up, good to go. And the next thing you know, you gotta, your Johnson's good. Just you can wash it.
Yeah.
But like, it's difficult to have these conversations, like, with people in general, because it's like, coming back to it also, like, we're kind of, it's nice to say that, like, our opinions are hyper valid in this topic of conversation, but honestly, I've been coming to the conclusion that, like, at the end of the day, like, you and I are men, we identify as men, we have penises that can get fully erect, and we get aroused by someone, we'll never know what it's like to make a very poor decision and then end up having to deal with the consequences of that decision, like, 9 months later in a very serious health, like, your wisdom tooth having surgery operated, it really is taking you, like, for a ride because you're just not used to
I mean, I get that argument. I get like when I was like in high school, I was very like pro-choice. It's a woman's choice. She should always make that decision. But the older you get, the more research you do. Like there's evidence on both sides of different things. Like there's evidence of life after a certain amount of weeks, things like that. Where like I said, like it shouldn't be like the extreme left thinks it should be used as a form of birth control. But like I've had friends who have gotten people pregnant. Like they're in a relationship and the girl wants an abortion and the guy doesn't. And it's like, is it like, even though it's her body and her choice, like it still affects someone else at that point too. Like, I'm not saying we should have autonomy over women's bodies because I don't believe that either.
Yeah.
But
and the problem is also, like, with this is the conversation for men that men need to have. Why are, when you get your partner pregnant, it needs to be a decision that both you and her are 100% ready to go in on and have.
You should be having these conversations before sex, right? Like,
yes, like, and you shouldn't be. And then also, on the other hand, you shouldn't go around coming in girls because you don't have any fucking self-control.
Yeah, but I mean, accidents happen too, like whatever. Like,
sure, but like, at the end of the day, you need to turn yourself into a pullout king, and it's just, it's what you got to do, and it sucks, and accidents do happen, but that's why you gotta practice. And if you don't feel like, and if you're so afraid of accidents, you should be wearing a fucking condom. That's just what it is at the end of the day.
The problem
and also,
go ahead.
I was just saying also, like, because women, the contraceptives are a thing. They're very accessible these days. Like, if you guys have a very healthy, active sexual lifestyle, like, you both should be doing your part to make sure that something you're both not ready for doesn't happen.
Right.
Like, and that's in that situation too. Like, you're right, where she wants to, but he doesn't want to, and that's a horrible situation to be in, and that most likely will end up going into the courts, and it'll be a fucking hubbub. And
well, not in this case, but yeah, I mean, she did what she wanted, and he dealt with it. Like
the topic, it's difficult, but also that's kind of the consequence for making very poor decisions. Because at the end of the day, the decision to have, everyone thinks like the decision to have sex is like, something you can just do willy-nilly, when it really is something you got to take very seriously before you engage in it.
Yeah, it just goes back to like what Bill Clinton said. Like, abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. Like,
yeah, or didn't Bush say that?
I'm like 99% sure it was Bill Clinton.
Oh.
But
it could have been both.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem with these arguments is when people like there's no you'll never get any logic from it, because people on like again like on one side will say, well, like what if they're raped and this and that, and it's like, well, are you still pro-abortion if they weren't raped? Yes. Okay. Well, then don't use that as your argument. That's an extreme argument. That's very rare. Like if you're pro-abortion, just be pro-abortion. You don't need to come to like the extremes, because if you're only pro-abortion when it involves incest and rape, well, then you're not really pro-abortion. So, or you're either always in favor of the woman's choice or you're not, right?
Yeah. One and two, and I really just think that this is like the thing about the pro. A lot of people don't understand about the pro-life crowd. Like I know both very well. Like I know both camps. Like I talk to both camps. I interact with both camps. There are a lot of women in the pro-life crowd. A lot. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And I think that that's something that needs to be brought up more. And I think a lot more of these women in the pro-life crowd who have better, more interesting and diverse arguments for this sort of thing really need to come to the forefront, But instead they'll just focus on the same political pundits and say, like, this, that, and this is how I put it, and this is how the way it should be, and this is the way it should be written, and this is the way that should be done, and that's why. And
yeah.
Right. I think this topic of conversation is always going to be hyper toxic no matter what. One, because of just, it is a very, very dark topic of conversation, no matter what, no matter how you.
People have such strong opinions on it. Like you're never going to find it like a middle ground. They have
strong opinions because it's a dark topic of conversation. It's difficult to not talk about an extreme topic of conversation without becoming extreme yourself. It's very difficult to intellectually suspend your belief and wait until all the options come in. And until you can actually take it in to look at all the facts and process all the data, that's a very difficult thing to do. And it's difficult because everyone wants you, like, something horrific happens, like let's say like the Holocaust, where in basically the late 1930s, early 1940s, the United States straight up said, these camps, like people don't kill each other like this, right? Like this is, I don't know what this is, but it's definitely not that. Like it's stupid. That doesn't happen.
We also said that camp seems like a good idea, but just to contain people for a while that we don't trust.
Yeah, and it's just it's foolish. Like,
yeah. But anyway,
hope one day we can move past the topic of conversation, and it's not something we really need to talk about because we live in a society where people make sound, reasonable decisions, and they don't just take,
good one.
go around coming in women, and women don't let stupid men come in them, and unless for situations, but also there's a lot of girls.
There are plenty of great places on a woman to come. Okay.
Yeah. And when she's your wife, it's great. You get to come between her legs. It's great. That's the whole point of making the decision to have kids. So yeah, practice safe sex. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, totally. Hey, some news, guys. Some nerd news is in stuff. That's a thing. Apparently, John Watts has stepped down as the director of Marvel's Fantastic Four movie. John Watts did the Spider-Man movies for Disney. You can say for Sony, but Sony had very little input in that, I think. But yeah, apparently he stepped away. This became big news when he did it. John Watts said, making 3 Spider-Man films was an incredible and life-changing experience for me. I'm eternally grateful to have been a part of the MCU for 7 years. I'm hopeful we'll work together again, and I can't wait to see the amazing vision for Fantastic Four brought to life. Kevin Feige said he was great, blah, 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 and they were looking forward to him working on Fantastic Four, but understand and are supportive of his reasons for stepping away, which they don't explain, and nobody cares. Okay, cool. Yeah, he did a great job with the Spider-Man movies, so it would have been great to see his Fantastic Four movie, but hey, well, who knows?
I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see that they're trying to reboot the Fantastic Four. Kind of seems like they're scraping around trying to figure out whatever they can toss back in.
Well, Disney owns it now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I watched No Way Home. That's like the newest one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, a lot of people said it was really great, and I thought it was cool, like, the Tobey Maguire and, the other guy, Andrew Garfield, like, came back, and I thought it was cute and stuff like that. And I thought, Doc Ock looked great. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a whole episode waiting to happen, but let's go off on a spiel. But, I just didn't think the movie was all that exciting. Like, I thought it was very, like,
Do you think you would have
It,
felt that way if you watched it when it first came out, or do you feel like even before it came out, it was really hyped? But do you feel like
mm,
it was way overhyped?
I feel like it was overhyped, and I don't know. Maybe this is me being a grouchy old man, but it just also feels like the green screen and the CGI in the movie was very, very, very heavy. And I think the only good
That's Marvel
effects,
movies these days.
yeah, and it's getting so intense to a point where it's actually kind of shocking me out of enjoying the films, which is weird because Shang-Chi had a lot of CGI, but it wasn't. I don't know, but there was also a lot of really good classic martial arts, like cinematography that was really good.
Yeah,
And so it had a good balance. Like in Spider-Man, it just felt like nothing but CGI running between action sequences to very hopeful Avengers type music. Story goes this, we do that, move on. It's just funny quip to break up the serious moment, move on. And and there were legitimately good parts in the movie. Don't get me wrong, right?
yeah.
I thought the part where Jamie Foxx told Andrew Garfield's Batman, man, I was hoping you were black, and Andrew Garfield was like, oh man, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was super funny. I don't know why, but I thought it was funny. I thought Doc Ock looked great. The one place where the CGI worked really well, but I thought the original design of those arms, even from the first Spider-Man movie, was just super badass.
yeah.
Those arms are really fucking cool. They really are.
I think, like, well, it's a little different because like I love Spider Man and
Yeah.
I've read a lot of Spider Man, and like I predicted the Aunt May thing like before the movie came out
Mhm.
because
The what thing?
Aunt
Sorry.
May.
Oh yeah. Well, that she dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was.
for me it's
I just.
predictable because when Spider-Man's identity gets revealed, you're kind of going into brand new day territory, like comic book wise. You kind of assume something's gonna happen, um, and that's why people were so like Mephisto orientated for a long time too, is
Mm,
because he plays a big part in that arc. But people hated that arc in comics, so you knew it wasn't gonna be like that similar. Like, I mean, obviously he's not married to MJ, so it's a little different, but like it
yeah.
is the same. Like in the comics, I mean, Kingpin puts a hit out on Aunt May. She gets
Mm,
killed. He goes and gets the black suit. He breaks into prison and almost kills Kingpin. He ends up making a deal with Mephisto where he has to give up his marriage to Mary Jane and give up their unborn child
mm,
to bring Aunt May back,
mm.
right? And essentially how that manifests in this story is Doctor Strange undoes the spell and everyone forgets who he is,
Yeah.
right? And so just like there, he lost Mary Jane, right? But people aren't going to be as mad about that because like the marriage of Peter and MJ was built up for a long time in comics, finally happened, and then like 5-10 years later they took it away, right? People were really really mad about it. Like the writers of those books got death threats. People hated it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh,
crazy.
fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like, I didn't watch the other two Amazing Spider-Mans with Andrew Garfield,
oh
because
okay.
they were put out by Sony, and I just didn't want to watch them. I was like, all right, this is kind of a joke now. Like, how many times are we gonna do this over? And then they got the other that we got Tom Holland Spider-Man, which is fine. It was in the Avengers. I like I don't know. Maybe this ties back into my thing where I'm tired of people like taking shit from the past and just like rehashing it as much as they can, because it seems like they rebooted the Spider-Man thing so many times now. And
Well,
I've
yeah,
seen
but
Spider-Man
they've done
lose
that with
a.
Batman too.
It's like yeah, exactly. It's like watching Batman's parents get shot in an alley again. How many times do you need to say Aunt May or whatever the fuck his uncle's name die? Like
Well,
Uncle
that's the
Uncle
twist,
Sam.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's usually Uncle Ben, and like for the
Uncle
first time,
Ben.
Aunt May gets killed,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Which
I don't
is
know. It's just also in the Spider-Man video game that came out on the PS4 a few years ago. Aunt May dies in that story as well.
oh
Um,
okay, well,
yeah, it's so maybe I'm just kind of
yeah.
desensitized to all this stuff,
So
but like I didn't.
they need to do new things, right? Like, and I think from here that's what they'll do. I mean,
Mm,
the biggest problem with Sony, we'll get to them later, is like why nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. So like
yeah,
as long as Spider-Man stays in the MCU, hopefully like some good things will happen and we'll get like Mysterio was a great new character, right? Like to
yeah,
introduce, and like the whole movie was kind of new for people who aren't familiar with Spider-Man and other media.
yeah,
Even Homecoming, right? Like nobody's seen the Vulture like in a movie before, so that's where like this movie, sure, we brought back all these. So it was more a nostalgia thing for people, I think, than anything.
Hmm.
I really liked the movie, but I've talked to more than one person who said they felt like it was overhyped and like predictable and whatever, right?
It just follows a very strict Marvel movie plot structure that I think, in that combined with the CGI, combined with honestly what was kind of a shitty music score. There wasn't any original music. It
Really,
all sounded,
I liked
yeah.
the score. Well, I
Eh.
liked I liked.
Do you okay? So here's the thing: do you like the pop? Like, do you like the songs they inserted, or do you like the actual original score?
Oh
Like the
no,
original?
the original score.
Yeah,
You're
see, I
talking about the
didn't think.
soundtrack, or
I'm talking about the original score for Spider-Man No Way Home. I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought it
I,
all kind of sounded like the same movie, like the same kind of music we've been listening to since like Avengers, like Infinity War.
there's only one standout piece of the score for me, and it's like after Aunt May dies and it's like raining and he's like standing there.
Mm.
That part of the score really stands out to me. But it's the same guy who did the score for the Batman movie. It's the same guy who did the score for Up.
Mm.
He's done every other Spider-Man movie. He didn't do any Avengers movies, but he's
Well,
really
I guess
good. Really good composer.
he has good days and bad days, I guess, because the Batman movie one was really good. But I just guarantee you, the score in this one, like, it just felt like I was listening, like watching the event. I don't know.
The Batman score is like a mix of the Imperial March
Yeah.
and like music from like Inception or something.
Yeah, and that one Nirvana song they used a couple times, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, that song was like played 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
In the
the thing,
movie.
the thing about Spider-Man now that I had some time to like rush together in my brain, it just felt like I was watching the same movie I've been seeing in like theaters, like for the last 6 years. Like, if I'm going to go see a Marvel movie, the only other movie that I think that really shook me out of like the whole Marvel experience was, I think, probably the first Doctor Strange, because it's just how crazy they fucking went with like the effects, like the twisting cities and all that crazy
It'll be
shit.
the
Like,
same, I think, in this one.
yeah, good. I love trippy ass shit like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll show up super stoned on.
I've been
We'll see.
avoiding the reviews, but I've seen some
Yeah, same.
headlines.
I'm doing the same too. Like, I know. I hope they make it super trippy, because that was honestly one of the best parts of Doctor Strange, was the fact that they use the CGI like in experimental weird ways, which is just to fucking psych you out, which is awesome. I thought that was awesome.
One of the headlines I saw though was like reviews are mixed, but people are saying it's because like people expected to be a lot of cameos, but there aren't as many cameos like as people think, and it like favors more storytelling, which I think is a good thing. Like,
yeah,
I mean, hopefully all the cameos have been spoiled, because like I already have seen way too many things, because motherfuckers post a new clip every day. No joke. Go to Doctor Strange on YouTube. Every single day there's a new clip.
Yeah, then the trailer too. Like, I know Mr. X is in it now, and it sounded a lot like Sir Patrick Stewart. And I'm assuming that when he posted on his Instagram that I made a small cameo at the red carpet, that was alluding to the fact that he probably was there as Mr. X for the Illuminati. Because they saw the trailer. Oh, the Illuminati. It's super funny that you were talking about that. Like, I wonder if it's going to be the Illuminati. And then literally like a week later, a trailer comes out. The Illuminati will see you now.
Yeah.
Like, that's how funny.
Yeah.
You called it. You called it just like that. So who else is on the Illuminati again? Just go over that one more time.
It's not going to be them. It's not. It's Black Bolt, Iron Man, Namor, Mr. Fantastic, Professor X. There's versions with Beast in it. After Professor X dies.
Be a different Iron Man. It's gonna be like.
There's not gonna be. I don't think it'll probably just be Professor X, and it looks like X-Men 92's Professor X, because we see the yellow wheelchair thing from the cartoon. And then there's we know Captain Britain's gonna be in it. Like,
who?
You saw What If, right? Episode 1.
Peggy
Carter.
Yeah, a lot. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really want to tie in What If that much, like if they're that desperate to keep that series going, they want to tie it into the freaking movie. Sure, like they can do whatever they want. It's
yeah,
because technically, like if they want to tie it in, they beat up Ultron and they're going across the multiverse.
The thing is, like, they could have saved those things and not put them in trailers, and like people would still been hyped. Like, dude, I was hyped when they announced it because Scarlet Witch is in it. Like, That's all I needed. Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange in a movie together, that's sick. And then America Chavez, cool. I'm excited. I don't need to know Doctor Strange and fucking Captain Britain or not that. Sorry, Professor X and Captain Britain. I don't need to know that. Like, I like save something for when I get there. Like now, I'm just gonna be like, oh, cool, yeah. Everyone in the theater's gonna be applauding, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like, stop clapping, motherfuckers. I'm trying to watch the goddamn movie.
Well, that's the thing too. You understand too. A lot of people, we sit here consuming media about this all day. Most people usually they'll see a trailer, they'll see this, they'll see that, and they won't really see anything else, and they get super excited. And
I don't know about that. I mean, people who like Marvel stuff are pretty crazed now. Like they're pretty fanatic about it.
Well, they're desperate to hold on to because, like, after Endgame, like, a lot of people are really starting to wonder now, like, what's going on, like, especially I gotta be honest, like, after watching the last Spider-Man movie. Just again, my opinion is that it was just really overproduced, and you're right, probably partially overhyped. And like there were just parts of it that I just genuinely kind of thought were lame. Like I don't know, like I thought they brought back a bunch of boring, like I don't know, like I thought here's the thing, the premise is really cool. Villains from across time, from across time and space are coming into this Peter Parker's world, right?
Yeah.
But they just brought in the villains from the other movies. Like they didn't bring like, oh, here's like some fucking crazy villain from like this different universe where everybody has butts for a face and like he fucking fucking shoots out words that explode, like each letter like formulates and it explodes, like I don't know, something fucking crazy. They didn't do that. They just brought in the villains from the other movies.
Well, they totally fluffed the Venom thing too.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Let There Be Carnage, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with there. I probably should go watch that at some point, but
no, don't. So let's talk about before we get into more news real quick. Let's just talk about something that Marvel did do well. Moon Knight.
Yes.
So we haven't talked about episodes 4 or 5 yet, and people seemed pretty confused at the end of episode 4 for some reason. I don't know why they were confused, but apparently people were confused. He got shot, and that stuff was all happening in his head, and it's still happening in his head. And there's room for speculation about, has he been in an asylum the whole time, and all this stuff is just made up. All the stuff we see of Moon Knight is made up, and that's in his head, and this is real. Well, as soon as he sees the physical manifestation of Stephen Grant, that part is in his head, and the Moon Knight stuff is real. Confirmed. This is drawn straight from Jeff Lemire's run on the comic. I've seen people online saying it's a ripoff of Legion, which Legion was a TV series based on the Marvel Comics character Legion, who was also insane. But that show premiered in 2017, and Jeff Lemire's run happened in 2016, so not really. Also, I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where they did an exact replica of this episode in like 2001, where she's in an insane asylum, and the only way to get out is to kill her friends, and what we're supposed to believe is the delusion that she's a slayer, and that's how she's dealing with her traumas. We've seen this all before. It's not a new thing for someone to show up in an insane asylum, and then you question what's real and what's not. I don't think it was that crazy of a twist.
Yeah.
But it was a good episode, and
Oscar Isaac is just carrying it along. He's finding the fact he's basically acting with himself at certain points.
Well, for almost the entire episodes, right? Like
the past two, they were. Yeah, and the giant hippo lady.
Tower Rat. She's cool.
Yeah, she's great.
She's dope. And then you have the last episode where we learn about the trauma of Mark Spector and why Stephen Grant was created. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Like it's like
very, very intense. Yeah, for sure. Like the scene where she grabs the belt and like you can hear the mom talking about her and him coming back and trying to reconnect with his family, especially like and they take the time. Like I don't know if it's the same in the comics, but in this time they point out that they try really hard to show that he's Jewish and he's wearing that little cap. The yarmulke. He's wearing the yarmulke on his head, like he shows up like just to be proximate of his his mother's version of Awake, and he just doesn't want to go inside because that's how intense and very visceral the trauma is. We can see how much it affects him. Like to the point where I think didn't he like dispossessed in the street and he went to go like live a whole new life in London for 5 months because like the other personality overtook him so hard. Yeah, and it's just
Well, it's great. I don't know if it's still happening, but if you go on the Marvel Comics app,
Mm.
or if you download it, like if you look up Jeff Lemire's run on Moon Knight, like I think like the first 7 issues of that run you can download for free. I don't know if that's still going on, but it was like last week. So if anybody's interested in reading like the first half of that run, it's only 16 issues. The run is only 16 issues total. So
I'm sure it's great, and like like I said, Oscar Isaac is great. I also like too, and this like just like I say, the CGI just isn't. Well, maybe this is different because it's a TV show, but there are also a lot of it's just like I don't know, like it's more compelling. It's new, interesting stuff from Marvel. It's interesting. Like the effects they do are cool. The CGI isn't overused and abused just to make villains look more intimidating than they actually are. That scene where Kamachu or whatever the fuck his name is, whoever the moon god is.
Khonshu.
Khonshu, yeah, is like spinning the sky and like turning back, like
yeah.
the night sky. That's dope as hell. That was super cool. Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you just got to know when to use it and when to leave it. And I just feel like, specifically for the movies, they've just been picking it up and using it like a fucking club and splattering it over the place, trying to make it more palatable for people. Right. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Maybe it's like we're also used to like Star Wars, and even in The Mandalorian, like they're using like crazy good technology and still doing like on-set shoots as well.
Practically, yeah, it's a combination of both. That's the thing about The Mandalorian too. Like, there's CGI, and then there's also like, people in costumes walking around, and like, some of the explosions like are just.
Well, it's not so like I don't know if you've seen it, but like they use like this crazy technology for the Mandalorian, where it's like a small set, and then there's like these TV projectors just all over, and like every single scene is like they can alter every individual pixel. Like it's crazy, like the technology they use that ILM developed for the Mandalorian. But like they've also gone out onto like actual sets and filmed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
in the desert.
No, I mean Moon Knight's been great. The season finale's tomorrow. And if you're listening to a podcast version of this, it probably already happened. My prediction really is that Layla, what's her face, goes and frees Khonshu, and she saves Mark. And,
yep.
Yeah.
And
then they wrap it all up.
He goes and beats up that guy. He seals off the other god. Saves the day. He talks about he has a funny joke. He looks in this reflection and says a funny joke when they laugh to express friendship between the two, and they go off to the sunset.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah,
it'll be exciting and good either way.
Yeah.
Anyway, also, like, I don't know, like, do you think Moon Knight? So, what do you think is going to happen with it now? Is it going to get is it going to be seriously involved in the MCU? Like, have they talked about that or anything like that? Or
so it was like briefly discussed that like it was mentioned by someone that he wasn't actually in the MCU. But every like thing that Disney or Marvel or Moon Knight Twitter's like tweet, like all of it is like that he's in the MCU. So there's like also discussion about like season 2, who knows, blah blah blah. But no, we don't actually know. I mean, and at this point, like I'm happy to not care. Like
I just think Oscar Isaac is such a strong actor, and he could have been like. He could have came in and he could have been like the new phase of this MCU is like Chris Evans or whatever the fuck, Robert Downey Jr. But,
I think we'll see tie-ins with him and like Daredevil and stuff in the future.
Yeah, well, we got that that Daredevil tie-in, which I was super happy to see at the very beginning of like the new Spider-Man, which is great. And I wish they would just stop making new Marvel movies and just make Daredevil forever and more Jessica Jones and more Luke Cage. And,
Well, Echo just started filming, and Echo will have almost certainly Kingpin in it. So
good.
Anyway, we'll speedrun some of this news.
Ant-Man
and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the Marvels swap release dates.
That's a really difficult thing to say. Quantumania,
Quantumania, yeah.
Quantumania, got it.
Quantumania, yeah. So the Marvels will now be coming out July 28th, 2023, and Quantumania will now be coming out February 17th, 2023. So
wait, what's the Marvels? I haven't even.
So that's the sequel to Miss Marvel, pretty much, and it's gonna also probably include the new Miss Marvel. That comes out June 8th, the TV series with Kamala Khan.
Right? Yep.
And it'll probably include Monica Rambeau, who is Spectrum. She played Gwendolyn in WandaVision. So she'll also probably be in it. So it's just going to be a bunch of characters who have been Miss Marvel before or similar. So anyway, next, the CW cancels Batwoman after 3 seasons. They also canceled Legends of Tomorrow after 7 seasons.
They had a Batwoman show?
Yeah.
Oh. Was it good?
I never watched it.
Oh.
They replaced the main actress after season 1.
Nice.
There was a bunch of drama. But pretty much what happened is Warner Brothers and Discovery, I believe, merged. And Discovery is taking control, and they don't like the direction that WB's been going for years, just like many of us hate everything that WB's done. And so I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to consolidate universes instead of having the CW and TV do whatever they want over there, and then having all these movies that somehow try to interact but then don't, and they're all individual for some reason, and Zack Snyder and whatever and blah blah blah. They're gonna try to consolidate everything, I think.
Good luck.
Which is what you want, right?
Yeah, well, they've tried to do that several times before, so we'll just have to
I've never seen WB try to do that. Everything they've ever done has been a slap in the face to fans, I think. I don't know.
They keep trying to reboot it, like Man of Steel, and then.
Well, yeah. So they tried to become the next MCU when they did Man of Steel and then BVS and blah blah blah, and then they brought in Shazam to that world and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and they're all part of the same world. But this isn't working anymore, guys. Let's make a Joker movie that takes place outside of the world, and it'll be our most successful DC film ever. And then let's make the Batman outside of that world, and it'll be our other most successful film ever. Yeah. And then we
let people with extreme creative integrity take over, and then we have to. It's so creative that we have to move it out.
And then what they think is this is success. We'll just keep making individual films again, which is not something fans in the modern day want. Fans want to see Robert Pattinson's Batman eventually become part of the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
They want to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker interact with the Batman, at least, right? These are things that people want to see, and so if you leave WB to their own devices, you'll never see that, right? And that's a problem, right? Just like when they started making movies, people said, well, Grant Gustin should be the Flash because he's a great Flash on TV. And Stephen Amell should be Green Arrow because he's a great Green Arrow on TV. And what Warner Brothers said is, fuck it. We'll recast everyone because we don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Let them be the Arrowverse, and then we'll do what we want with movies. Or let Zack Snyder do what he wants. And then you get people who either really love it or really hate it, which is not a good recipe for films. And so, now we are where we are. I mean, the problem is, we still have Shazam coming out. We still have Aquaman 2 coming out. All these things happening. Who knows what the future holds for DC? I mean, that's the problem. They should have some good announcements. But they don't. I mean, aside from Batman 2, which we'll get to.
Yeah, and see, the MCU came out with, a 20-year plan as soon as Iron Man took off. They're like, okay, guys, let's capitalize on this and just make a whole movie franchise that's eventually going to spin off into the Avengers. And they talked about the plan, they formulated the plan, they plotted the plan, and then they executed on the plan.
Right.
And then, they had the most
then they made changes to the plan, but made the plan better, but also made it worse because they made Inhumans a TV show. So fuck those guys. I'm just kidding.
And Inhumans is what it is. And Defenders got canceled because Disney decided they wanted to have it, and that was not okay. And I'm still very upset. But they're bringing it back, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But and I'm sad to see Legends of Tomorrow go. I heard it was an interesting premise, and I thought it was really cute. The first few episodes, though, I could understand why it probably got the boot. It probably wasn't their most popular.
It should have got the boot after season 1.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The Legends of Tomorrow was a fun concept, but then it just became a poor man's Doctor Who, and who needs that?
Yeah.
I've seen everyone meet Shakespeare before. Okay, I don't need to see it again. Anyway, Shazam has been moved. Originally, it was supposed to be June 2023. Then it was moved to December 16th. Now it's coming out December 21st. Cool. Warner Bros. Also announced a Batman sequel at CinemaCon.
That's what I was going to talk about too. I'm glad, and like I said, we've been mistreated. I will take what I can get at this point. At the end of the day, on review, and I've talked to a few other friends about this, so probably, my opinion's been diluted a little bit from my own personal opinion, but, whatever. It was a bit edgy. Maybe it was a bit too edgy sometimes. Maybe, it could have been, definitely a little bit too edgy. Probably a little bit too edgy. But it was still pretty good. So
it's just something that's not for everyone. Like,
yeah.
I liked it. I've heard people say I loved it the first time, but it has no rewatchability. I've heard people say Batman is an idiot and the riddles are simple. I've heard people say that this is the greatest movie they've ever seen. Like, there's a wide variety of opinions. I think it's a fine movie. I enjoyed it. I saw it twice. I actually felt like the second time it wasn't as slow as the first time. I felt like there was good pace. It was a fine movie, and you can't please everyone, but
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Avatar 2 had some footage screened at CinemaCon. I don't really care about Avatar, but
well, the first Avatar movie was kind of a cultural phenomenon. Like, I know you just said you didn't care about it, but like at the end of the day, like a lot of people saw that movie, like a lot, like a shitload of people. I think it was like something. Isn't it still to this day probably one of the most watched movies of all time?
It made the most money ever, but that's because of IMAX screenings.
Yeah.
And then Endgame beat it out because they extended their stay in theaters purposely to beat it. But yeah, no, I watched Avatar one time in a van driving home from a San Francisco Giants game with some people. I didn't find it all that interesting, but yeah, people loved it.
I don't know.
So.
I did enjoy it, but I don't know. It had me. It had. I'm a sucker for sci-fi shit like this, and like maybe the story wasn't so strong, but the effects, like there's CGI that takes me out of the whole movie. Like that's what happened a lot in Spider-Man at the end of the day. Is there was a lot of sometimes I feel shitty CGI that they did because they were cramming so much of it in that they had to budget where the good CGI was and the bad CGI was.
Well,
and
it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, look at this great technology we have. We'll make it the whole movie.
Yeah, pretty much. And in Avatar, like, that was very much the case. Like, it was a movie that was all CGI, but there's something about it, like, I don't know why, but I was okay with it. Like, I was able to sit through the whole movie and not be disturbed the entire time. These, like, blue people were basically, everything I was seeing was basically CGI. And I don't know why, but it's just something about the capture technology with the, I don't know. Like, I'm stumbling over myself trying to explain it. It's just the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference.
Yeah.
Like, so I really enjoyed Avatar, and I will be seeing the new one in the theaters. That's for sure. I don't know if we're gonna review it, but yeah,
we can talk about it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sony pushes Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse back to 2023. It's supposed to be October 7th, 2022. It's got pushed back to June 2023. In part 2 of that, which I think this news it got called something else. No, never mind. Anyway. Yeah, now it's March 29, 2024. In other Sony news, they decided, hey guys, let's make a money about El Muerto and cast a rapper named Bad Bunny to play him.
Who?
Bad Bunny is he's a Spanish rapper. He only raps Spanish.
El Muerto. I don't know who that is.
No, nobody knows who that is because he's a useless person. No, I'm just kidding. Here you go. If you've never heard of El Muerto before, don't be surprised. The character was introduced in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 6 in 2006, and he has only appeared in a handful of Marvel issues since then. Created by Peter David and Roger Cruz, El Muerto is the alter ego of Juan Carlos Sanchez, the latest in a long line of wrestlers who receive enhanced strength and endurance from a mystical luchador's mask. Sony reportedly implied that Ocasio is playing Juan Carlos as an anti-hero on the verge of inheriting his father's power. Let me just say this. Sony needs to fucking stop. They need to be stopped. Someone needs to stop them. Stop making movies about Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man in it and trying to make them good guys. And here you go. You did it again with Madam Web and motherfucker. And look at Green Light, Venom 3 with Tom Hardy. I like Tom Hardy. I think the Venom movies are okay. The second one kind of sucks. The first one was fine.
Yeah, you and I saw the first one in theaters, and I think we both actually genuinely enjoyed it.
My honest opinion, the best version of Venom by himself will always be worse than the worst version of Spider-Man with Venom. Spider-Man 3 is still better than Venom.
I'm gonna spit some dirt in your eye for saying that.
I hated Spider-Man 3, but at least Spider-Man was in it.
Spider-Man 3 gave me genital warts. And that's a really old video reference. If you don't understand what that is, I don't care. There's just people talking about what Spider-Man 3 did to them. All I gotta say is that Spider-Man 3 gave me shotgun diarrhea. And also, I came home from seeing Spider-Man 3 and my dog died of cancer.
Jesus.
That's how bad Spider-Man 3 was. So...
Yeah, like... There was like a... There was a meme... Jesus, what was the meme? It was like a...
There's a lot of memes that came out of Spider-Man 3, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be. There's a problem. Like, I think also Tobey Maguire was just not in the right headspace. I think when he made that movie.
It was a meme about what Sony's doing now. It was like it was like Sony's plans for Spider-Man, and then it's the scene in Spider-Man 2 where like Peter's sitting with Mary Jane and he says, "No, not Spider-Man. Never Spider-Man."
Pretty much. So can they not use the Spider-Man character because Marvel uses him? Or
Sony has all control over it, right? Sony has a deal with Marvel that says Disney and Marvel can use Spider-Man and make Spider-Man movies and use the characters that Sony owns that Sony allows them to use. Sony can reserve their own characters from themselves, and if they wanted to, they could use their own Spider-Man. But I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, maybe they're just afraid of recasting it after what happened with Andrew Garfield.
Just bring Andrew Garfield back.
Yeah.
Even though he's like taking a break from acting or something now. But
yeah, I didn't watch those movies too, so I didn't know if he was a good or bad Spider-Man, to be 100% honest. Like, and what did you think he was a good Spider-Man or?
Yeah, I think he was a good Spider-Man. I think his Peter Parker was like way too good looking, which is fine. But what
about Tom Holland? Hello.
Like they both did a fine job of playing an awkward Peter Parker, like because he's still like super awkward. The movies themselves aren't great, but I do like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
And I like Andrew Garfield as a person too. I'll put that out there. He seems like a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he's taking a break from acting because, like, you know, that whole industry just takes you and slams you into a meat grinder until it's done with you, and then throws you into the meat pile. So, we good? We're good. All
right. Ewan McGregor shared his reaction to Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader, shifting over to some Star Wars news. So in an interview with Total Film, McGregor described what it was like to see Hayden Christensen in character while shooting Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Christensen wore Darth Vader's costume for just a few scenes at the end of Episode 3. However, McGregor wasn't in those scenes, so when his old co-star showed up on set in the full Darth Vader outfit, it took a little bit of getting used to. In other words, McGregor didn't have to act too hard when conveying Obi-Wan's fear at the sight of his one-time apprentice. He said, "I've never met Darth Vader. I had rehearsed the scene with Vader, but not with the helmet on or anything like that. When we came to do the scene when they shouted action, he had to come from behind me. I turned around and fucking Darth Vader was coming at me. I was like I was 6 years old again. I've never acted in Vader's helmet. I've never looked in him in his eye." Sorry. It took a while to get to the Scottish part of his accent, but I got there eventually.
You got there eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just read it with the normal voice, and
Nah,
I had to.
You have to immerse people into it,
I don't think people want to be immersed.
Of course they do. That was a great accent too.
All right, whatever you say. Why don't you go to Scotland? Do me a favor. I want you to get on a plane. I want you to go to Scotland. I want you to start doing that accent. Then I want you to ask them what they think about you.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I want you to go to Glasgow, and I want you to walk around and say, "Oh, hey,
my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy." See, that's a good Obi-Wan.
All right, whatever you say.
Anyway, I could have easily voiced Obi-Wan in Clone Wars. I'm just saying.
Whatever you want, whatever you say.
All right, just for you, I'll read this in a normal voice. "It scares the shit out of me," continued McGregor. "I'm not joking. It gave me a proper jolt of absolute fear. I was like, oh my god, that's not acting. That's real. I'm really, truly frightened right now."
So they're talking about him, so they have him and Hayden Christensen have an interaction in the Vader suit when he's playing Obi-Wan in the new series Obi-Wan?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this kind of like a huge fucking spoiler that this should have waited before?
No, this was announced when the show got
I know they were working on it. I didn't know they were shooting scenes together. I thought just Hayden Christensen was
there was even concept art released of them fighting again.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Okay, like that seems like a pretty big lore jump, but you know, whatever. I guess it's cool. Whatever, Star Wars.
Tolia
Right?
said that accent. It was great, wasn't it? You're not gonna side with
Yeah,
Chair, are you?
it's just, you know,
It
someone
was
says
that
you
was a
guys,
great accent.
someone says you guys have a familiar relationship, and she's biased about your, like, you know, giving props to your accent or something
She
like that.
probably thinks it's shit too, to be honest.
Mm.
McGregor added the same would happen with stormtroopers. I can't read without doing an accent. Okay, it's really weird.
Wait, when's it premiering? May 27th.
May 27, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm excited. I hope it's gonna be good. Like, you know, I think the Inquisitors are a cool idea, and I'm glad that they're going further with them. Um, and you know, the whole Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan thing, it really seems like it's kind of a meme more than like people are actually like talking about.
I think he's fantastic.
I think he's fantastic too, but I feel like a lot of people like him because of the memes, not because of, like, you know, Ewan McGregor's superior acting method, or the fact that he's just a very charming fellow and he was able to add good lines. But you know.
It started pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get to Scottish, but like, you know, I did the Obi-Wan like British Obi-Wan, you know, so.
Mm.
But like, Ewan McGregor is doing like this Expedia commercial now, so that got stuck in my head too.
Yeah, I remember. I haven't seen that. That's weird because I've never seen him in advertisements before, but maybe it's because he's only in the UK.
When he says the
like
places you go.
Oh, jeez. I want you to go again. I want you to go to Glasgow. I want you to go around. So you're like, oh, the places. Like, I want you to read Dr. Seuss out loud in a Scottish accent and see what they say.
No, my accent isn't good. But it works. You know, it's immersive.
Yeah, I want you to tell them that in Scotland. I want you to tell them, guys, like, this is an immersive Scottish accent. It's much more immersive than your accent.
It's okay because people in the UK, like, you know, like,
it's so funny. You just highlighted it exactly.
But like, I wouldn't do this if it was like, you know, Indian or something.
What would you do? Oh God, what would you do if it was an Indian person?
I would just read it like normal. But like, the thing is, even when I read like quotes from Kevin Feige, I usually do like a nerd voice, you know.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, I've done with all the podcasts I've done. Like, I've done bad accents like for women, and like, I should probably be canceled, to be honest. But
and we should all be canceled for unspecific things.
Yeah.
But no, I am excited for Obi-Wan. Like, you know, them fighting again, I didn't know that was going to be a thing, but I'm sure it's going to be hype as hell. Like, you know, I thought they would be like, what I thought would be happening is that they would be they would basically be re-recording, because Dave Filoni's, like, he's full creative control, right? Basically what's going on here. Like, he's one of the top dogs right now when it comes to Star Wars. Like,
yeah, he's
very involved in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
You know, right? And the thing about that, like, I really thought that he was going to redo some scenes, like, as flashbacks, like, from the Clone Wars, but instead it would be actually Ian McGregor and, like, you know,
they might.
Yeah, you know, and I thought that would be great, and I thought that would be fantastic. There are a lot of scenes from the last season that I thought they could have, like, you know, just brought straight in, but it is what it is. Yeah. It's so funny, though, that all the clone troopers are CGI, but I guess that makes sense. Well, actually, that doesn't make any sense at all, because you think it would be cheaper to have extras in. Well, I guess they all kind of need to look the same, so that's probably why. Like, they can't, like, look different, like, body-wise or anything like that. The stormtroopers don't really look different body-wise. I don't know. Anyway, Any other news?
Yeah, I told you I said I would get murdered if I went to Scotland with that accent. That's not the point, okay? That's not the point.
What if someone from Scotland downloads this and then they come here with, like, a sword and they, like, challenge, like, Outerbound combat or something? I don't know.
I've heard Leonardo DiCaprio do a terrible Irish accent. I think I'll be okay. Like, that's way more insulting. You're trained in acting and you suck at accents. Like, it's also insulting. Why didn't they just cast an Irish person, huh?
Oh, I don't know.
Because they don't have the appeal that he has, apparently.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's got the fucking jawline, bro. Anyway, what other news we got?
Okay, Hayden Christensen teases more appearances as Darth Vader.
I don't even know if I want to read this. I think I want to wait. Because it's like spoilers, you know? Such a complex character.
Okay, he pretty much says the extent of his journey remains to be seen, but it's a privilege to come back. Cool. Misleading headline. Got it. Good article now. Hayden Christensen watched the animated shows to prepare for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So he said it was interesting. Okay, fucking ad move. Thank you.
There's another one. All right, there you go.
He said, they did a lot with these characters in the shows, and they did further explore the relationship. There was interesting stuff there to learn about it. It was great fun getting to go back and re-immerse in yourself in this world that just continues to grow and become more and more vast. He watched McGregor watched all 9 movies, start to finish, just to get back in the world. He said he hadn't seen them since they came out. Not at all. It was cool to see. Interesting.
Guys watched them in his like fucking Scottish mansion in his personal little theater with popcorn, fresh popcorn robot bringing him popcorn.
Yeah, totally. But anyway, the last bit of news, because when we last podcasted, we totally forgot to talk about this.
Yeah,
Ezra Miller got arrested again.
Yeah, dude, you can't stop, dude. He needs to get in the fights. He needs to throw his hands so fast. That's why he's the Flash, bro. He's just flashing into the fight.
It says Ezra Miller's reign of terror continues. Why?
Why is he doing this? Is he like in a divorce or something like that, or just stardom?
I think he just likes to party, and he's kind of stupid. Hold on, I'm gonna show a picture soon, but yeah. Send, motherfucker. He was arrested for the second time in under a month for second-degree assault. Miller was arrested around 1:30 in the morning after... Wait, this... is Ezra Miller identify as a they? I wasn't aware of that, if that's true, but I'll respect that. After they were asked to leave a private residence in the district of Pune, Miller reportedly became angry, throwing a chair at one of the witnesses. During the course of their investigation, police determined that the individual, later identified as Ezra Miller, became irate after being asked to leave and reportedly threw a chair, striking a 26-year-old female on the forehead. Okay, that's not nice. Resulting in an approximate half-inch cut. They were arrested just a few weeks before that for disorderly conduct. We talked about that. Yeah. It's so dumb. I don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller, to be honest, but
he's either got just a really shitty personality and he's kind of a shitty person, or he's going through a lot of shit right now. It's making him a shitty person.
He needs to be stopped. He's just out there.
He's on Hawaii, ripping down apart. He's flashing, bro. He's flashing between different places. Next thing you know, he's gonna be in Nebraska.
Flash.
I'm the Flash, bro.
It's so funny. Hold on, let me bring this up real quick. It's gonna be funny. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller. I know there were the rumors that like he was gonna get removed or whatever as the Flash, but
now he's definitely gonna get removed. Like that's a real serious thing. Like aggravated assault.
Yeah, WB said that they're not gonna do that, but
even after this one,
who knows? Where is it? Boop. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad look, but I don't think that they would just like be like, oh, no, what the fudge? Oh, sorry. I don't think that they would be like, no, we're gonna just cancel you or whatever. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens now that like Discovery is like involved with Warner Brothers. Capture method. Okay. I don't think this works. All right. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm just gonna move things around here. Add. Boop. Window display. Bop. Okay. Okay. I have to make this smaller so we can see ourselves. Bop. Yeah, this is my favorite meme now.
Yeah, dude.
It says,
I don't know if I do Flash.
anyone on a listening device and not a watching device. It's a meme from Spider-Man where Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker says, "I don't want to fight you, Flash," and Flash Thompson says, "I wouldn't want to fight me either." But Tobey Maguire is the entire population of Hawaii. And the Flash has
he's ready to fight. That's all you gotta say, bro.
That's so good. Okay. Props to whoever made that.
Yeah, good meme.
Yeah. If you could read one full page of a Harry Potter book.
What?
Oh, that's a 50 Cent meme.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, because Floyd Mayweather can't read or something. It's funny. Anyway. Okay. I will sustain that I would not get murdered in Scotland. And also,
you won't use that accent, or if you do, you'd use it for like 2 minutes, and then you'd get really embarrassed, and you would stop because some Scottish dude is like staring at you, like in a really angry way. So
these accents are just great to impress Americans who have always believed that British people sound ridiculous. So
and you get to say whatever you want,
yeah,
even if what you say is wrong.
I look at what is that? What are you broadcasting live?
Yeah, I got my news. Or is that not? Is that how it works? Sorry, I thought I'd share it like over on the screen. Is that working? Is that working properly?
No, I can share it though.
Okay, let me just.
I can do something. I'm sure.
Go over this list real quick.
Is there a list?
No, I got a few articles. So I only got 3 things, so I'll send them to you. And okay. First one's a list of just stuff. So for those of you that don't know Tor, Tor.com or just Tor, Tor, is basically the largest publisher right now, probably of fantasy and science fiction, aside from the other mainstay publishers like Scholastic or Penguin Random House or something like that. So Tor, they also are known to work with up and coming authors, people who are working on the fringe when it comes to just fantasy and science fiction or whatever, what have you. So that's what Tor is. It's a publishing company that publishes primarily fantasy and science fiction, but almost all indie work. Biggest name they have signed with them right now is Brandon Sanderson, who did Mistborn, which is what most people know him from, and right now he's doing the I can't remember the name of it.
Wheel of Time?
No, he finished Wheel of Time because they asked him to do that. But he's working on his own series, the Stormlight Archive right now, which is actually very good, and I would highly recommend everyone go read it if you ever just want to read a fantasy novel. With that being said, though, Tor, they have a lot of good news on their website, so I just wanted to go over real quick what books, if you are interested. They're publishing a number of books this May. The list is broken down by week, so I guess we'll just go down the list, if that's okay with you, my good buddy Cage.
Yeah.
Let's do just, let's start week 1, May 3rd. Okay, so this first one is part of a series, Burnt Empire number 3. I have not read any of the Burnt Empire books. I did read the premise. I'm not going to reread the whole thing here, but it does seem... Well, maybe I should read the whole thing here. The Demon Lord Discerned is poised to claim the Burning Throne and cement his rule over the Burnt Empire. Standing in his way is his daughter, now reincarnated into a new avatar named Kreshni, who is determined to avenge her mother's death by his hand and put an end to her father's reign of terror once and for all. Aligned with him is the vast army of the Empire, the 100 children of Emperor Adri, and their former guru, the legendary warrior Dronos. Kreshni has allies too. Also opposing the tyrant Jason are the children of his nephew Shavate, the supernaturally gifted quintet known as the Five. But Kreshni and the Five are vastly outnumbered, while other rogue individuals like Ladislow, the warrior witch, serve their own secret agendas. So, if that sounds like a book series you want to get into, but find Burnt Empire number 1, catch up. And if not, you've read the Burnt Empire series before. I hope this is really exciting for you. Well, the next book is called The Book of Night. She spent half her life working for gloamists, magicians who manipulate shadows to peer into locked rooms, strangle people in their beds, or worse. So it's just it seems to be about a woman who works with magical assassins, and now she's trying to get out of that life, and it's a whole story.
Yeah, so it's Black Widow, but with magic.
Well, it could be. I mean, did you read the
Well, I mean, she's trying to distance herself from her past mistakes, and that's not easy. And blah. I mean, it sounds like Black Widow to me.
Well, that sounds like a sounds like a pretty common theme that just isn't prescribed to Black Widow. A number of people that make mistakes in their past and try to distance themselves from them.
Yeah,
you know, it's not just.
But when you're an assassin and you're trying to,
yeah, and magical, was Black Widow magical?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I said. It's like Black Widow with magic.
Did Black Widow work with magical assassins and then become their assistants and then leave?
Atolia said Tor is awesome. I think Atolia is just a secret troll account, like a fan account of you, pretty much.
No, I'm pretty sure my own fan. So my own fan account. Darling Girl. Life is looking up for Holly Darling, grandfather Wendy. Yes, that Wendy. I don't know who Wendy is, so it doesn't matter apply to me. But skincare company.
Wendy the girl with the red pigtails?
Maybe I'm not sure. First of all, Holly knows who responds Peter Pan.
I think like her
Wendy. Okay, so
Uncle
this
Dave,
is this is a cute little book. Apparently she's descended from Wendy from Peter Pan. So and Peter Pan comes back. So it's a cute little short story if you want to read that. If you're looking for a little slice of life something to read. This is Tear Down. Seasonal Fears, Alchemical Journeys number 2 by Shannon McGuire. Melanie has a destiny, though it isn't what everyone assumes it to be. She's a delicate, she's fragile, she's dying. Now truly is the winter of her soul. Harry doesn't want to believe in destiny because that means accepting the loss of one person who gives his life meaning, who brings summer to his world. So when a new road is laid out in front of him, a road that will lead through untold dangers to a possible lifetime together, walking down it seems to be the only option. But others are falling behind, with violence in their hearts. It looks like destiny has a plan for them after all. Sounds exciting, a little romantic, a little bit of fate fulfilling, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I totally said, I'm guessing Wendy from Peter Pan. Wow. Good one.
Yeah.
Chair stand account.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's Tear Down the Throne, Gargoyle Queen number 2. This seems like a pretty long readout, so...
yeah, if you like Gargoyle Queens, you might like that.
Yeah.
Is there actual gargoyles in this?
Probably. At least I would hope so. That's the thing. Like, like a fantasy gargoyle, like the ones that actually come to life and fight. What are you talking about?
It says she's thrown together with Leo. Is this like a book version of the Gargoyles TV show? Like, is Leo?
Did you read from the start, or did you just truck it into the middle of the paragraph and then just start reading shit and go like, "What is this?"
Jumped in. I was looking for some like keywords that might give me a hint.
This paragraph doesn't make any sense because I started in the middle of it. What the fuck, dude?
He's a prince, Leonidas. Not to be confused with Leonidas from 300. Or Lion-O from Thundercats.
Charming and dangerous, though. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When women were dragons, how did they procreate?
No. But anyway, Tear Down the Throne looks like a little bit of exciting. Seems like another good little fantasy series if you want to check it out. Apparently, it's number 2 in whatever series it is, so be sure to give it a read if you're looking for a book. And then When Women Were Dragons. Alex Green is a young girl in a world much like ours, except it's the most seminal event. The mass dragoning of 1955, when hundreds of thousands of ordinary wives and mothers sprouted wings, scales, and talons, left a trail of fiery structures in their path and took to the skies. Was it their choice? What will become of those left behind? Why did Alex, beloved, and Marla transform, but her mother did not? Alex doesn't know. It's taboo to speak of. Forced into silence, Alex nonetheless was amid the consequences of this astonishing event. A mother more protective than ever, an absentee father, the upsetting instances that her aunt never existed, and watching her beloved cousin Bay become dangerously obsessed with the forbidden.
Okay, I don't know how this story goes.
That sounds like fucking trippy as fuck, dude. Like, ladies turning.
This is the story of how men turned women into dragons and took away their autonomy as women.
Maybe. I don't know. Did you read it?
Nope. Atolia said
then
there
we'll-
was a gargoyle in the first the first book, I think, of the Gargoyle Queen series. Okay, well, why is there not a gargoyle in the second one? They don't even mention
maybe
it in
it
the
died.
synopsis.
Maybe there was only one gargoyle, and then that gargoyle died in the first one, and then they're doing it in the second one to honor the gargoyle's name because gargoyles are now extinct. All
Yeah.
right,
Also,
but anyway,
forced into silence, definitely by a man. Definitely.
well, it's really by Kelly Barnhill, Doubleday. Anyway, but that I just love the idea of women turning into dragons and taking off and a bunch of crazy shit. So
Yeah.
read it if
Light
you
it up,
don't.
Queen.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's the first week. We'll be back next week with the other week for this week. So that's what we're doing this week.
Oh,
Now I have.
are we?
Yeah,
Are we?
I'm just doing. I'm doing one week at a
Okay.
time.
All right. Okay. Got
So we
it.
can keep. So we can do this fun little. Fun. So next, if you would be so
Gotcha.
kind as to pull this up, because this is actually big gamer news. A lot of people who are gamers know Square Enix. It's a name. It's a household name. It's a household gamer name. They've produced probably some of the most important RPGs that have come out in gaming. That being said, they've made a lot of really poor decisions lately. They've really bought into serious fan hype when it comes to party games specifically. They've been putting a lot of them.
Oh, they're all, yeah. I read
Yeah.
Avengers and
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, the Avengers game
Guardians.
was the Avengers game was yeah, those two games were sold, I believe, to
Yeah.
another studio. And now it's announced that they're letting go of Tomb Raider, which many people not know, but Tomb Raider is very important because Tomb Raider is probably one of the first concurrent game series with a series protagonist. And it holds a dear place in gamers' hearts. Like, it was just one of the first major PC games. The other game was Deus Ex.
And Thief.
The other game and Thief. Well, we'll talk one at a time. But anyway, Tomb Raider, great game. The new ones were really good. I don't know why they decided to sell it. Maybe it's because they're really, really hurting for cash. That's just probably what it could be at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, people also hate what is this, Ubisoft? Square Enix? No, they're different companies.
No.
Square. Yeah, people aren't fans of Square Enix so much anymore either.
Well, Square Enix, like you said, they made a lot of poor decisions, and what happened with specifically, I think the thing they did that pissed off a lot of gamers is that when there used to be this big conference called E3 after COVID kind of killed it, right? It's not really a thing anymore. The more important gaming conventions are usually PAX East, PAX West, and whatever other kind of things people like independent kind of news conferences that the big brands have and stuff like that. Maybe E3 will come back. I don't know. But with that being said, a lot of their E3 conferences really turned into their emphasis on party games. Like all the Dance Dance Revolution, like all those games, like are produced primarily by Square Enix, and it's just, it's sad. It's sad to see a company like this because we have to understand Square Enix started out with Final Fantasy. They were one of the original. They were one of the first big, long-term RPG fans, really makers, producers, and publishers of RPG games that everybody loved and consumed. All the Final Fantasy games, everything like that.
Yeah, they were also big on with. They did a lot on what was that system called? The Dream something.
Yeah, the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Dreamcast.
Yeah. And also they're getting rid of Tomb Raider. They're also getting rid of Deus Ex. The new Deus Ex games were really, really good. We haven't gotten the third one yet because it's kind of in development hell. The story is owned by a couple of different people. And Deus Ex is also the new Deus Exes are offshoots of the later Deus Exes we had before. Those Deus Ex games were woke as fuck. I think everybody should play them so they can get woke as fuck, and so you understand why you shouldn't let giant, nameless entities with a bunch of money and power start really getting to, create laws. So yeah, keep that in mind. Just play Deus Ex, get woke as fuck. Also, Thief. Thief is not a game I really played that much, but I know it's well loved because it's probably considered to be one of the first real stealth games. It was the first one I believe it was the first game that really implemented the idea of being able to stand in either light or dark, and that determines whether or not people can see you, which looking back now we're like, oh, that's so basic, but back in the day, in the early 2000s and 90s when this was on the PC and you had to install 5 different floppy disks and shit like that. It was a really big thing. So they're selling off a lot of good stuff. I also heard they might be selling off Legacy of Kain. Rio, if you're in here, yeah, dude, that Legacy of Kain. So whoever buys it, maybe we'll get new Legacy of Kain games. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it says so right here. Legacy of Kain.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain is great. It's fantastic. It's Rio, who comments in here a lot, Rio Torque, really, really loves the Legacy of Kain games. So, yeah.
That's not that what? Who is Kain?
Kain, he's kind of like an immortal vampire. It's like a couple thousand years old, and he's like this ancient god they resurrected. Like, the whole video game universe has its own lore and stuff like that. So
Roy.
Yeah. And then I'll send you the last article. This is kind of already known, but this is finalizing it. So.
Have a look at that ad from Saks.
That's a very attractive lady.
Microsoft, huh?
Yeah. So now it's pretty much finalized. There's no going back. The I's have been dotted, the T's have been crossed. I believe they've started signatures and stuff like that. Yeah, this is really big news. That's all I got to say. Blizzard Entertainment for a very long time was probably one of the staples in the gaming community. Yeah. And first they got ate up. They got ate up by Activision, and now they're getting ate up by Microsoft. So it's just weird. It's very strange to see.
Yeah.
I
got a beta key for Overwatch 2, but I didn't claim it.
Yeah, no one. I talked to a lot of people who play Overwatch 2. They say it's no different from Overwatch 1, and it's actually kind of disappointing. So I'm really disappointed.
I've heard some mixed things, but it's not like even the beta's not really worth playing because you can't do PvE. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, it is PvE, but like you can't do ranked. So like without ranked, it's kind of boring. But yeah, cool. Finalizing.
Yep. And I believe the CEO of Activision Blizzard will be stepping down and leaving. So it's, we'll see what happens. Like World of Warcraft on Game Pass, we'll see what happens in World of Warcraft. Like, they announced their new expansion for the retail version. It looks interesting. I had my knee-jerk reactions to it, but I need to constrain myself. It looks like they're introducing a lot of new interesting mechanics, and they're trying to maybe do something new with the game. So, we'll see how that goes. StarCraft, unfortunately, I just think StarCraft is really just kind of a generational thing. You really have to be around and aware when it's out in the world and being released, because it seems like outside of Korea, no one else really cares about that game too much. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of North NA StarCraft 2 fans that are going to yell at me, but at the end of the day, I've been to the League of Legends World Championship 2 times. I don't think your game will ever compare to selling out literally they sold out the Staples Center for the 2018 championships.
I think StarCraft led the way for
it did for esports. It really did.
And for a lot of modern day gamers too.
Yeah, and to the thing about StarCraft, it just showed how an esports culture needs to formulate naturally over time, which is it needs to be started ground up by the fans. Like, this is what happened with Overwatch and the Overwatch League, is that it was started top down by executives that wanted to make money.
Yeah, and those executives couldn't even afford the players or the team, so they had to get what are they called?
Owners. Yeah, they had to get owners.
Like investors.
People own the teams. Like the guy who owned the Sacramento Kings also owned the the San Francisco Shocks. Which is a team based out of San Francisco, and I really enjoyed Overwatch when I played it. Maybe one of these days I'll reinstall it. I do own it. Maybe one of these you and I can play, but I don't do PvP because I'm an asshole. So
we can do that.
With that being said, it's just you can only play the same game so many times before you get bored, and that's kind of what happened with Overwatch. And then I was excited for the Overwatch League, but it was just so overproduced. It was so very obviously top down, and it wasn't run by the fans. It was run by people that wanted to make
venture capitalist. That's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah, and it's just when you have people like that who are not fans who are involved, it's shitty. The Overwatch arena looked great, but it's just they didn't have the participation they wanted because everything was so overpriced because it was based out of LA. At the end of the day, everything out of LA is going to be overpriced.
And they always XQC has talked about it before. As the stadiums would be empty, but they would front load everybody up front and make it look like it was packed.
Yeah. So, and that's a shitty way of doing things. And go to Evo. Do you know what Evo is in Las Vegas, dude?
Yeah.
Fucking Evo. It's fucking crazy. It's great. It's the best. It's so much fun. And it's go to League of Legends World Championship, go to the Dota 2 International, just the hype that permeates every layer, because it was It's for the fans. Like, you know, when you walk into League of Legends World Championship, the first thing to do is give you a bunch of as a bag with a bunch of shit. Like at Overwatch, like they said, okay, bring your own stuff, and we won't give you anything, and it's just a stadium. Get out and leave. Okay, bye. You know. So, yeah, that's my gamer news. Thanks for everyone for putting up with it, and my book news as well. I'm sure you enjoyed that. I could tell.
No, all good, all good. Like I appreciate like that you want to like share your own things too. So it's not just like things I'm handpicking and like all me all the time. So, yeah, that's good.
Yep.
I probably say a bunch of shit that you don't care about all the time too.
Well, no, I was saying like it's just for tour books. Like you're right. There are a lot of books that come out where, and I don't know. Maybe this is me being a greedy asshole, and this may piss off Talia in chat. But it seems like there are a lot of books coming out right now where the protagonist is usually female, and it really does seem like the author is projecting something shitty someone did to her into the book, and they're slapping like a fantasy lens on that and calling it fantasy, and that's fine. Like people, I know that pulp fantasy has been a thing forever. It's going to continue to be a pulp fantasy thing, but it's just sometimes it gets a little heavy on the list. That's all I got to say. Just to finish that thought off.
Yeah, I mean, like I see new books every now and then, mostly like because of what I buy on Amazon, like to read at the gym. So it's usually just like more Lord of the Rings books and Star Wars books and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not something I've ever thought about talking about, so it could be interesting though.
Yeah, I'll review it once a week, and if there's any big books that I want to just really gush about for 30 minutes, I'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah.
All right. No, it sounds like you got everything done though, so we're good to go.
Yeah, all good. Tomorrow is May the 4th.
So we'll be back at you with probably just an hour long Star Wars. We'll just talk about Star Wars for an hour and then leave.
Yeah, I've been rewatching Clone Wars, so.
I should probably watch something Star Wars. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know.
We'll see. I also like the thing is like tomorrow's Wednesday and Doctor Strange is Thursday, but I kind of want to rewatch Doctor Strange 1 again.
Oh shit! Now that you say about that, that is a really good idea. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
So, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thanks everyone who watched. Thanks everyone who participated in the chat. Thanks everyone for everything. I mean, we're much appreciated. Sorry for the week off. My mouth is better now, and
he had to get his tooth ripped out and his nerve shaved down. So don't give him a hard time. Anyway,
much love. Thanks for hanging out.
Take me off the internet.